Hi, my name is Astrid Oskemper. I've been working for 15 years in cattle breeding and professionally groom cattle for other people. I work both nationally and internationally. Today I want to demonstrate how to groom a dairy cow completely and professionally. For this purpose, I have the new Aesculap Econom CL, a battery-operated clipper I want to work with today. The cow's hair generally has a direction of growth top down, which can be seen here very nicely. For a good result, it is best to groom across the grain or slightly diagonally. I prefer starting grooming at the back in the pelvis and leg area. Therefore, I pull the cow towards me so that the stress is on the leg. This prevents her from kicking and I am safer. To switch on the Aesculap, you at first have to activate the battery pack here, for which a quick push is enough. Now it is activated and you can switch it on by a firm push right here. Before each grooming, you should always apply oil here and at the side of the blades. I basically groom the cow completely with the big clipper and afterwards starting at the udder and legs to do the finer points with the small clipper. The hip and pelvis area is quite difficult to groom, so it works best if you push the skin towards the clipper so you can groom this area very nicely as well. In this belly and rib area, you can pull through quite substantially, which is very effective. In these tricky areas, it is best to groom in shorter steps. However, here, for saving time, just pull through. At the neck and shoulder, you have a very fine skin if it is a very good cow, so just pull the skin to the clipper again. You groom the whole part, but the shoulder area should be very fine and diagonal, so always groom again with a smaller clipper and a comb. Here you can push through very nicely. In this area, cows always have whorls, so the hair grows in different directions, so you just have to groom this way. Here you can pull the skin carefully, although there is not so much hair. Basically, cows are not used to being groomed, so it helps to keep calm and not to point with the blades towards the cow, but always let it push through this way. Have good body contact, and it will be much easier for you and the cow. It's really important not to groom this way. Just grip the clipper loosely and let it run through. You can even take away the thumb and still get a very nice result. When grooming the legs, the deep veins can become a bit tricky, especially with a big clipper. Here you can pull the skin towards the clipper as well, or just push it in here. For the legs, you can use a small clipper as well, in this case the Aesculap GT306. It is also battery operated with a snap-on system. You switch it on and can snap on the blade to get it running. For snapping off, just push this button, fold away, and that's it. The reason for grooming the legs very short in this area is to see how clear this part is. There are no retentions of water. You can see the veins very clearly, which shows the quality of a dairy cow. That is why a short grooming in this basis area is a big advantage. Important at the foreleg and in general is to groom across the grain. You have to be very careful and pedantic to highlight the fine veins for a clear result. When grooming the head, you have to be attentive. The hair is very fine and the cow doesn't like the rattling. The cordless clipper is very quiet though, but gently does it. When it comes to the ears, you can groom either with a big clipper, the cordless one is very quiet, but you can also use the small clipper, which is even quieter. If you want to have it finer, you can choose the length 30. For legs, it is best to use 10 or 15, and at the other, approximately 40. When it comes to the tail, you should always do it very thin, for dairy cows ought to have very fine bones, and by doing so you can emphasize that. You take this line as a starting point, or just take the middle of the udder as reference line. I take a blade number 30 or shorter. Try to reach a clear edge towards the bottom. Finally, you always groom the cow's udder. At the front, you may want to emphasize it, but it should also pass over to the belly. People used to groom it very short. There was always a reddish line and you could not get a good three-dimensional look. Nowadays, it is desirable to have the colors fading into each other. Therefore, you should start with blade number 30 and let the clipper phase out at the top to form a nice transition. This is very nice here with the black. You can see the quality, the veins, even the smaller ones, to emphasize the quality and the tissue of the cow. I just finished the front. I groomed the transition, groom shorter here and come to the actual udder body. Therefore, I take a shorter blade, number 40 or 50, and groom the udder body. Cows are not that sensitive here, so you can use your other hand for accommodation. Be careful here. Do not push too much, but gently, and it will look very nice. At the rear end of the udder, it works similar. You want to have a nice transition, so I chose the blade number 30. Groom this area, but in a way to reach a transition, not just an edge. Then the udder body with an even finer blade, comparable with the one I used at the front. I just go up. An udder ought to be as wide as possible, at least give the impression, so the hair is groomed very short in this area to emphasize this effect. Now I work with the even finer blade, number 40, and groom this area again more intensively. After grooming the body, the legs, the udder very short, you do special parts of the cow again. This is for once the rib. You want a deep, wide rib and a diagonal shoulder. By grooming these areas a bit shorter, they seem to be lighter. Just pull to the top to get a long rib. After washing and brushing the cow with oil, the ribs will look very nice. You should not do it more extremely, just make it dependent on the cow, but this is a way you could do it. Finally, after having groomed the cow, you will notice that the top of the back is not even yet. Especially at nationwide shows, you try to level this out with the top line and give the cow a better finish. Therefore, a high-end blow dryer with lots of power, in this case 1900 watts, is needed. This is essential to get enough heat and airflow. Make sure the blow dryer has a narrow nozzle for bundling the energy and a quick result. At first, you straighten up the hair and use the big clipper for grooming. You always blow dry the hair exactly across the grain, as I do it at this spot here. This is the hardest part, but if you don't do this accurately, you won't get a nice hairline. All the hair has to be the same level. Adjust your speed accordingly. If you take too long, the cow will feel the heat, and if it is too short, you will need too long to straighten up the hair. After straightening up the hair of the top line, I now will groom the transition with this clipper. Be careful. In this region it is quite short, and up there it is supposed to be relatively long. You start grooming here to the point you think you need to do the width of the top line. There you groom at this angle and make sure to touch slightly with this side and tilt the other side accordingly. If you do not groom really thoroughly at this point, you'll get stripes. So groom up to the point where you want your top line to begin. Always focus on this line and make sure not to groom too much at the top. Here you can see the overlapping. You straightened up the hair of the top line, did the transition, and in the middle you want to have an even top line. In the higher regions, you can groom down to the body, and the middle hair is missing, but in the end, it should look even. Now I take the big clipper. You just take the clipper, assist with the other hand to prevent from going up and down. Before getting a finished top line, you have to straighten up the hair 4 to 5 times and keep grooming with the clipper. I'm very pleased with the result. The transition and the height look nice. I do a final blow drying and fix it with a very strong hairspray. Clear magic is quite common. Don't use too much, otherwise the hair will collapse. It should stand upright. Just begin little by little. In the end, it ought to be so strong that it feels hard. It should last until you are in the show ring. 1 can is enough for 4 cows. Finally, take a clipper with a very fine blade to do the finer points again, or use small trimmers for leveling out. For a nice finish, just brush the cow, use a gloss spray and brush the tail. When the cow is well fed and drank enough, it should work well. I tried out the clipper at several cows. It offers some advantages comparably to the cutter head of the cable version of Aesculap. It has as much power and provides the same result. Another point is the ventilation. The slots are now underneath compared to the predecessor's cable version where they were on the top. There was the issue with hairs fallen into the opening, which cannot happen any longer now. The on-off switch is countersunk now, which prevents from unintended switching on or off. The clipper is well balanced for perfect grooming. It lies comfortably in the hand. Finally, an outstanding feature is the battery with a very long durability. You can work with it 1 to 2 hours depending on the job. It has a charging indicator to show the state of the charge. A new feature is the automatic separation of the battery. This feature activates after 1 hour of not using the clipper. You can put the clipper away for 3 to 4 months, start working again, and the battery is not down. I like this clipper very much. It has a nice frequency, it is not too loud, and the animals feel very comfortable. The big advantage of a cordless clipper is of course that you don't have a cord, which lies in the dirt. You don't have to roll it up, you have no cable break after animals having stepped on it. I just can go into the stable and groom a cow.